If your Christian life lacks the foundation of the Lord, the floods of life will deal with you. Apostle Takim highlights 7 things that your Christianity will lack if you don't have the foundation of the Lord. Take a listen.
Okay, let me just highlight 7 things that your Christianity will lack if you don't have the foundation of the Lord. 1, character. When we say character, we are referring to godly character. Your Christianity will lack godly character if you don't have the foundation of the Lord in your life. 12 layers, 7 pillars. If you don't have it in your life, it will lack godly character. Apart from godly character, your Christianity, the 7 things, let me write, okay, I will go there. Your Christianity will lack godly character. 2, your Christianity will lack divine protection. Okay, not even divine protection per se, divine preservation. It will lack divine preservation. You get my point? Because the arrogancy of the devil prevails over believers that don't have foundation. So you will not enjoy divine preservation because there's nothing to preserve the structure of your life without foundation. So the flood of lives will come. They will just sweep you because you don't have foundation. The 3rd thing that you will lack in your life, restoration. You will not be able to experience restoration. These are very, very important things I'm sharing. Just that I told you these are things that we can teach for 2 months, but I'm just trying to drop some things. Your Christianity will lack restoration. Do you know that not look at look at what the Bible says in the book of Matthew chapter 7 that we read yesterday. It said, "He that hear these sayings of mine and do what I say, I would like him as one to be one who built his house on the rock. The rain came, the flood came, all of us, and the wind blew and the house stood." The rain came upon you, the flood came upon you, and you stood. What's the meaning of that? Job recovered because he had foundation. Job recovered because there was the foundation of the Lord in his life. Listen carefully. Foundation of the Lord in the days of before the cross is laid through encounters. After the cross is laid through the ministry of apostles and prophets by content. Encounters under such ministries. You get my point? Now watch this. Job received double after his trouble because he had foundation. If Job had no foundation, Job will have cursed God and died. Because if you look at it, many of us Christians, just because we cannot pay rent, we depart from the faith. We go and start sleeping with men if we're a woman just to pay your rent. Just because maybe since you come to Nairobi, you've been here for 5 years, life has been unbearable. You know, and say, what nonsense is this? And you depart from Christianity. Our suffering today are not even up to the suffering of Job. And yet many of us are falling away. You know why? Because we don't have foundation. We cannot be restored. We cannot stand firm in the midst of tribulation. So where there is no foundation, there will be no commitment. Our Christianity will lack commitment to God. Righteous commitment. Uncompromising commitment. So Job experienced restoration because he had foundation. Listen to me. It is the foundation of the Lord that restores us back after a season of attack, after a season of adversity. The world is in imperfect state. Either you have foundation or not, we are going to go through the same adversity. But those who have foundation will be restored after their adversity. But those who do not have foundation will never be restored after their adversity. You see, we go through the same challenges as human beings on earth. The same rain is beating all of us. The same wind is blowing. For instance, coronavirus is everywhere. We are still in this world. A lot of bad things are happening. We are all in this world. But why is it that the bad things are consuming others and not consuming others? Foundation. Foundation. When you have foundation, you be committed. The three Hebrew boys had foundation. That's why they did not bow to Baal. They did not bow, to the image of Nebuchadnezzar. Commitment is a major fruit of righteous foundation. Commitment. So if your Christianity have foundation, number 5, you have grace. I know. Grace. Listen carefully. I say the grace of God is the power and the pardon to go and sin no more. That's what the grace of God is. So when you have foundation, God gives you grace. Listen, there are 3 dimensions of God's grace. There is the saving grace of God that comes to us, either we have foundation or not. Now, the saving grace of God comes to pull us from Egypt to bring us to Christ. It pulls us from a life of sin to bring us to righteousness. It confronts us of our sin, convicts us of sin, judgment, and righteousness. So we come to the Lord. Once we respond to the Lord and He factor the foundation in our lives, then God will now give us sufficient grace. So when we say grace, I'm referring to sufficient and exceeding. Grace in the 2nd and 3rd dimension. Sufficient grace and exceeding grace, SE. That is what answers on foundation, and I'm going to explain shortly. So when the foundation of God is laid in your life, God will now give you sufficient grace to sustain the things that are in your life. Then when the enemy come against you, God gives you exceeding grace. So you experience sufficient and exceeding grace only when the foundation of the Lord is in your life. Look at this man in the Bible, Paul, for example. He said a messenger of Satan was given to him to befriend him, and he now cried to the Lord, and the Lord said, my grace is sufficient for you. Because Paul had foundation so because of that, God released grace to him to deal with the messenger of Satan. Christians with foundation attract sufficient grace. They attract exceeding grace. Are you understanding me? Through their commitment, they attract exceeding grace. Because when you have the foundation, you are committed. Your commitment brings exceeding grace. Then everything is done by the foundation. Now, one other thing you must understand is this. If you look at Noah, for example, the Bible says his world was full of wicked men and all of that stuff. And God decided to wipe away the whole world. But Noah found grace. How? Noah had the foundation of righteousness, which is also called the foundation of the Lord. That was why he did not go after the wickedness of his generation. Foundation prevents you from going the way of the wicked, no matter the pressure. When you have foundation, the foundation of the Lord in your life, the Bible says you depart from iniquity. It said the foundation of the Lord standeth shall having this seal. The Lord knows those who are his, intimate. Let he that name the name of the Lord depart from iniquity. So with the foundation of the Lord in your life, you can depart from iniquity. And when you depart from iniquity, God gives you grace. You find grace in the sight of God. Sufficient grace and exceeding grace. Now, let me clean this so that we have space. The next thing that happens when you have the foundation of the Lord in your life is revelation knowledge. You begin to operate a revelation knowledge of who God is. And the 7th thing that happened, you operate in God's fire.
Thanks for watching.